Hello dearies, welcome to my channel. Today we have a watercolor pencil piece that I did last spring. The title of this piece is Cotton because that is her name, and she is based off of the cotton tree. Now this is more evident when you see her dress. Cotton is part of a series that's based off of female humanoid floras that I have been very interested in recently, or well, not recently, since it's been last year, but it's something that I focus on more often, and I'm inspired by nature a lot, so it's only natural that I like to create female humanoid floras. Here I'm sketching cotton up with a Prismacolor Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencil in light peach color. And you can see that I don't work with a thumbnail, but I do work off of different concept art and small sketches, light sketches, things of the nature that I do in my sketchbook. The thing about not working with a thumbnail is you're prone to erasing a lot, and if you have a heavy hand like I do, erasing is very harmful to watercolor paper. So try not to erase as much, or if you're going to erase, definitely use kneaded eraser. It doesn't harm the fibers of the watercolor paper as much as a hard eraser does. Speaking of paper, I've had this watercolor paper for, I don't know, many years. So I couldn't tell you the brand or the weight. But I think if you've worked with watercolor before, and most likely more experienced than I am, you definitely know and can see what kind of paper this is. Going back to sketching, here I'm working on the dress part, and you can see that I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do because I really didn't know what her dress would look like on her, or what her dress would be even. What I did is I took a reference picture of a real cotton ball from a cotton ball tree, bush. No, they go from trees. Cotton tree. And I based off her dress from that and tried to make it as fluffy as I could and still form a dress also. Again, you can see me erasing a lot, not really knowing how I want it to end up. I've been watercoloring since my freshman year in high school. My first watercolor piece was of a snowdrop flower. These white flowers that grow in February after the snow thaws out. That flower. I didn't really like watercolor then. I didn't understand how to use it as well, but as time passed, I grew to really love watercolor, and it's one of my favorite mediums to work with. I just love the loose look and the pastel effect, and I'm just really comfortable with using watercolor. Here I'm painting her hair now, and if you were watching unlike I was, I did use a black color pencil for the bottom of her hair and later on for her dress. Normally you don't use black or white because they are non-colors and they tend to muddy up the other colors, the real colors, really. But I used black because I didn't have a dark blue that I liked, and I really wanted to shade that part of her hair and darken it up. So I used the black color pencil, and later on I washed it so that it's just a gray wash, a wash look to it, and so that later on I can add blues to it and really create that dark blue that I wanted. In the end, I really liked the fact that I used the black because it created the contrast that I wanted it to. So again, I'm using my black color pencil, adding in a bit more, getting it a little bit more saturated with the black. I worked on this art piece for the whole day, really. I got up a few times to get water, eat, but I worked on it for the whole day. And I tend to do that with a lot of my pieces. I sit down and I sit there for the longest. For me, if I leave an art piece unfinished, I won't be able to get back to it until later on, or never. So I'll just sit there and force myself to finish something. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it really drains out your creativity with doing that. But I really enjoyed painting Claude. She's probably my favorite out of this series. I just really liked how her colors turned out. And usually I don't experiment with colors. I stick with monochromatic or colors that I'm just really comfortable with. And usually those colors are blues and greens, the cool colors. But here I add a bit of the warm using yellow and an orangey brown. By the way, the watercolor pencil that I'm using are called Faber-Castell Art Grip Aquarelle. So they're meant for watercolor, okay? I bought them last year as a late birthday gift. A very late birthday gift. Splurged on myself. And after I bought them, I really wanted to paint something, and so I started the series just so I could use them. At the time also, I bought myself my first Copic markers. Before that, I've only had Prismacolor, and so I really wanted to try Copic markers because of the other art channels that I follow on YouTube, and I really wanted to try it, and everybody recommended how the brush tip was similar to how you paint with watercolor, and like I said, I love watercolor and I wanted to try out the Copic because of that. So here I'm just layering the colors on her hair, adding my blues, and blending in the colors. I love blending. I don't know earlier if you saw, but I left the table and came back, and the black color on her hair had dried with such a crisp line, and I tried to wash it out as best I could, but you can still see it somewhat. And it still bothers me to this day. Every time I see it, I'm just like, why did I leave it there? So this part of her dress, this turtleneck, is a leaf part, a brown leaf part of a real cotton ball. And because I was working on white paper, I wanted to create a base where it was a little bit greenish brown color. So that's why I picked up the color earlier, and now I'm layering it back in. And you see me adding black to darken it up again because I didn't have a dark color that I liked for this piece. So I'm mixing that up with the black and the brown, the orangey brown. Overall, I really liked how the black turned out for this. Again, here I'm trying to pick up the black, pushing it out, washing it out, and really getting it light at the edges. When I work, I actually don't think about where my light is. I just let my hand move. You probably shouldn't do that. But again, I think that's part of working without a thumbnail. If you had one, you'd probably know where the light is. And that's something you would think about when you do the thumbnail. Recently, I've been doing thumbnails for my art, and I know that thumbnails really help you out. So the only reason why I didn't do it was because I just didn't like repeating what I was drawing. It bores me to do the same thing over and over again. But recently, having been doing it, I'm really getting used to it and liking my final pieces more often, and I'm pretty sure that's all thanks to doing the thumbnail. As an artist, I'm really bad at being consistent and drawing all the time, so that's still part of being consistent, and that's something that you're supposed to be doing as an artist, and I don't do that. So with the thumbnails, I'm practicing more, and I can see where my mistakes would usually be on my final piece, on my thumbnail. And so I really like how my pieces have been turning out because of that, because of thumbnails. And also, like earlier I said that I erase a lot and I'm heavy-handed. So with the thumbnails, I'm not as afraid to make mistakes. And even though I still erase and still have my heavy hand, I'm not afraid to mess up my paper, because this is just a thumbnail. I can redo it again later and fix the problems that I had before and grow that painting into something better. Unfortunately, I didn't record myself outlining her, so I'll just cut to the end part. Here are some pictures that I took of her, because when I tried to scan her, the texture on the paper scanned through, and I just didn't like how it was turning out on Photoshop, so I ended up just taking pictures of her. And you can see the outline there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button.